Let's talk about taxes in Malaysia. Yeah, I know, it can feel a little confusing, but what if I told you we could break down the absolute basics, like who pays, what gets taxed, and how you file, all in the next few minutes? Let's dive in.
You've probably asked yourself this at some point, right? Whether you're just starting your first job or maybe you're running your own business. So, we're going to tackle those big questions and hopefully clear things up for you.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty, what is tax, really? Well, at its heart, it's the money we all chip in to fund the things we use every day. Think roads, hospitals, schools. It's basically our collective investment into the country.
All right, this is probably the first and most important question you need to ask. Do I need to pay tax in Malaysia? And believe it or not, it's not about your citizenship. It all comes down to something called your tax residency status. And trust me, this one thing changes everything.
Okay, the difference between being a tax resident and a non-resident is huge. Just look at this. If you're a resident, you get access to all these great discounts or reliefs that lower your tax bill. Plus, your tax rate is scaled, starting from 0. But if you're a non-resident, you generally don't get those reliefs and you're hit with a flat tax rate instead.
So, how do you get that sweet resident status? Well, for most people, it all boils down to this one single magic number. This is the key that unlocks all those benefits we just talked about.
And there it is, the 182-day rule. Basically, if you are physically in Malaysia for at least 182 days in a single year, and they don't even have to be all in a row, you're almost always considered a tax resident. It's really the main test for most people.
Okay, so you've figured out your residency status. Awesome. The next question is, what money do you actually have to pay tax on? Because, and this is important, not every single ringgit that comes your way is seen the same way by the taxman.
And here's the main distinction. The government is mostly interested in your income receipts. That's the regular money you earn, like your salary or business profits. But then there are capital receipts. Think of one-off things like a gift you received, or maybe you got lucky and won something. That kind of stuff, generally not taxable.
So what kind of income are we talking about? Well, here are the usual suspects. For most of us, it's all about our employment income, our salary, bonuses, that kind of thing. But hey, if you're renting out a property or have other side hustles, all of that needs to be declared too.
Okay, deep breaths. This is the part that always seems a bit scary, the actual math. But I promise you, the formula behind it is actually pretty straightforward. Let's walk through it together. I want you to picture your total income for the year as a big pizza. Now, before the government gets a slice, tax reliefs let you take a few slices for yourself first. What's left on the plate? That's your chargeable income, and that's the amount that actually gets taxed. Simple, right?
So, just to really drive it home, reliefs are your best friend. They are government-approved deductions that shrink the size of your pizza before you have to share it. So the more reliefs you can claim, the smaller your chargeable income is, and, yep, the less tax you pay.
And check these out. These are just some of the reliefs available for residents. You get a basic RM 9000 just for yourself. But you can also claim for things like taking care of your parents' medical bills, buying books, or even paying for a course to learn a new skill. Seriously, it really pays to know what you're eligible for.
So we figured out who pays, on what income, and how to calculate it. We're almost there. This is the final piece of the puzzle. How do you actually report everything and get your taxes paid?
Okay, the big thing to know here is that Malaysia uses what's called a self-assessment system. And what does that mean? It means the ball is in your court. The responsibility to calculate your tax correctly and pay it is on you. This really shows you how much things have changed. It used to be that the tax office would do all the math and just send you a bill. But now, it's on us. We do the calculations, we file our return, and we pay what we've figured out. Your tax form is your bill, essentially.
All right, get your phone out and put these in your calendar because these are the two most important forms and dates for individuals. If you just have a salary and no business income, you need Form B by April 30th. Got a side hustle or your own business? Then it's Form BE and your deadline is June 30th.
And there you have it. Residency, taxable income, reliefs, and how to file. It seems like a lot, but Malaysian tax really just comes down to those 4 pillars. Once you understand them, you're not just hoping for the best anymore. You're actually in control. So the only question left is, how are you feeling about tax season now?